All right, let's continue our build-up now to the 2023 general elections and our quest to continue to set the agenda for the candidates as political analyst Kenny Okolugbo and Rise Politics editor Sambo both join us on Newsnight tonight. Thank you, both of you, gentlemen. Let me begin with you. I like to call you the political man, Sambo. The next president has his job cut out for him, doesn't he? I mean, the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, said that much. And not too long ago, we heard from BRF, Babatunde Fashola, the Minister for Works and Housing, saying, look, let's take religion out of the public space. And I'm talking, I mean, based on, the reports that we just read out before we brought both of you in. What's your buy-in? What's your take?
Yes, I mean, Fashola was right to have actually said that the Nigeria of 2023 is going to be different from the Nigeria of 2019, 2015, 2011, 2007, 2003. It's almost like the Nigeria of 1999 when former President Olusegun Obasanjo was coming and we were just transiting from military to civilian. Look, most of our development indices are down at the moment. Most of our economic indices are wavering at the moment. The government has been able to face some challenges squarely, while some others are intimidating because it's a global challenge that is facing everyone. So we need our politicians, political office holders who are there currently, and of course those who are aspiring to replace them, to set the tone for a conversation that will really show us the mirror. The mirror of the country right now is not one that looks so good in terms of development indices. And so as it stands right now, we need political parties with great vision, political parties that are focused on understanding the nature of Nigeria over the years, what Nigeria currently is, and then what Nigeria should be. The national development plans that were put in place in the 70s and 80s almost got dumped by the Fourth Republic politicians. Yes, Obasanjo tried to bring the needs and the seeds policies in the states, but from 2007 to 2011, we are not seeing policies that are going beyond each administration. A particular policy that are supposed to go beyond each administration. For example, what are we doing about population control? What sort of ideas are the politicians who want to come in from 2023 bringing to the table? The issue of power, for example, the presidential power initiative that Buhari is going to leave behind. Are the politicians that are coming going to drive that growth to policy initiative to fruition? Do we expect to see the 25,000 megawatts that Buhari is dreaming of outside this administration coming to fruition? We are not seeing some of this. As they are trying to put together their manifesto, Nigerians must not get tired of asking them to put things that will work for them. Look at the issues of restructuring. The All Progressives Congress was founded on the vision of a political party that will help to restructure the country, to create a new template for revenue generation, to give Nigerians better access to security of the nation and all of that. Now, are Nigerians questioning them? This is the time for accountability. If the APC has been in power for 7 years, we shouldn't be listening to the issues of Muslim ticket. Yes, it was a good option for us to start discussing about it, but it has faded away. Okay. Can we look at the issues now?
Okay, move away from the mundane. Kenny, I wonder what you think. These issues that Sumner mentions, they're not new. And I don't envy any political party at this point in time. But what sort of campaigns are we about to get into? Is it departure from the old order? Or is it likely to be?
I wouldn't agree. I wouldn't agree with some that the issue of religion will not be a factor. Yes, I might agree with some of the perspectives he has looked at it from, because one thing we must look at is, first, because of the situation we have found ourselves, because of the insecurity we have been experiencing as a nation, the issue of religion has been on focus. He shouldn't forget that not too long ago, the prelate of the Methodist Church was kidnapped. And one of the things he told us was most of the people that did kidnap him were Fulani headsmen who predicted that they could even try to kidnap the president at some point. And we saw what's happened after the kidnap of the prelate. So suspicion in terms of ethnic religious bias has never been this much like we're having in the nation right now. So when you have a political party that decides not to take that into consideration in considering the number one and number two in terms of candidates, the people are certainly going to look at it with sort of suspicion. But that doesn't mean that it will take us away from the fact that today we are told that we are having an existential problem as a country. We know our GDP is getting low. We know inflation is 18.6%. We know unemployment still stands at 33%. So you're looking at a candidate that is going to have to lift the nation from the doldrums of what we face now in terms of economy. We have a naira that is not stable. We have a naira that the exchange rate is almost at variance. We have the parallel market. We have the official market. We even have the market that has to do with pilgrimage, even if it is a Christian pilgrimage or Islamic pilgrimage. So what the focus should be, basically, are questions that we should interrogate the candidates is, what are you going to bring on the table? Are you going to focus more, not on consumption like the Labour Party candidates talked about, more on production? But how do you focus on production when we don't have power? Like Sumner said, 25,000 megawatts is a tall dream. We're not even stabilizing at 10,000 megawatts, talk less of looking at 25,000 megawatts. So these issues are issues that are going to be in the front burner. But when we have the two leading parties not stable up until this point in time, it becomes very difficult for Nigerians to start interrogating them on these questions. That's what I think.
A major challenge, great point you raised there, Kenny. Sumner, what do you have to say about that? The two major parties, it seems like a situation of things fall apart, the center cannot hold. So how can they really begin to marshal out, what should be a vision? And come to think of it, is there a Nigerian vision? What exactly is that vision? In a way that the political parties can, come up with manifestos that reflect that national vision, exactly where we expect to go and how we expect to get there. Is that what seems to be missing?
Thank you, Ngozi. How many of our politicians actually know the reason why Nigeria was created? A lot of our politicians are not digging into the past. This is the same country that top politicians like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, Sardauna, and then you talk about the golden voice of Nigeria, Tafawa Balewa. Look at what they did pre-independence, and then independence, and then post-independence. What the sort of grand vision that they wanted Nigeria to be in the Committee of Nations and so on. But today we are seeing, I don't really actually have problems with the dominant political parties, the two dominant political parties now, because they almost seem to share some sort of vision or mix up the ideologies together, and it makes them look like Siamese twins. The problem I have is with the political parties that are beginning to come like the third force or the fourth force that want to upstage these two political parties. Now, you need to have a better vision than these two political parties for you to be able to upstage them. Not forming ideas or selling ideas that are meant for like clickbait on the internet. The idea is that if you want to upstage these two, like we are seeing the Labour Party presidential candidate doing, or even the NMPP or even ABGA, we need them to coalesce ideas that will help to drive a vision that will make their ideas to be acceptable. For example, we have a lot of dams in the country. Many of them are memorable. Many of them could be resuscitated. What is the policy that they have to annex it? For example, on the controversial issue of water bill, Nigerians need to hear what the Labour Party or NMPP is going to do on the water bill, different from what the APC is proposing and what the PDP had before the APC took over. And then, of course, you have the issues of Lagos and maybe Calabar having more ports that are functioning. Now, what are you going to do differently? What are the free trade zones that you are going to create differently? Yes. And then you look at what Oshibanjo has said. He wanted to put someone on space. Right. A lot of us were saying that, look, this vision was too much for us. But if we are saying that Nigeria is the largest black nation on earth, why are we limiting ourselves to only what we can do within our geographical space? What is happening to the outer space? Yes, it may look like it's a grand vision, but the thing is that it's looking Nigeria away from what we found ourselves. This is the country that Murtala Muhammad said that Africa has come of age, and Nigeria will continue to see Africa as the centerpiece of our foreign policy. Yeah. Now, we've seen others. What is PDP or APC or NMPP or Labour Party going to say about how Nigeria should be presented in the Committee of Nations? So we are not hearing this.
I know you have a lot to say, and perhaps we should have gotten some now. a party form. He has all the answers. But let me come to you, Kenya, very quickly. It has been said that you cannot do the same things over and over again, expecting a different result. So we know the issues. We seem to know how to fix it. What's the problem? And how do we talk about leadership and a departure from the old without talking about the youth and the women? Where's the place of the youth and the women in the 2023 elections?
But basically, the women and the youths are the ones that the election deciders. If you go out on an election day, you basically find women and youths being those that basically vote. And so, if you're looking at what is happening, first, the major parties, PDP, APC, Labour, maybe you talk of NMPP and ADC, but the fact remains that the two leading parties, the PDP and the APC and the PDP would most likely decide who becomes the next president of this country. If you look at the landmass of Nigeria, we're looking at 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The last elections that were held, the PDP had 18 states, the APC had 19 states. But if you look at the population of those that voted, for example, in Delta, 580,000 voted for PDP, and about 221,000 voted for the APC. But now that will change with the maybe Labour Party coming into the picture. Anambra was 523,000 for PDP and 30,000 for APC. APC couldn't even make 10% of the votes in Anambra. Labour is going to eat into some of those votes, which most likely would also affect the PDP. The PDP also will have some gains in the sense that Labour might eat into some of the APC votes. But looking at it realistically speaking, just like we said, the third force, will they be able to get 25% of the women and the youths in 27 states? Because for you to be able to win this election, you must be able to talk of 25% in 27 states. I don't see a clear path for them to be able to make 25% in 27 states of the women and the youths. Yes, a lot of them resonate with this party, especially the Labour Party in the social media. But will this translate to votes on ground? I see APC and PDP being the party that will be able to struggle for 25% of 27 states, looking at the structures on ground in terms of having their parties in 774 local governments of the country. And the PDP has all it takes now to win this election if they put their house in order, especially with what we are seeing in terms of the economy. In terms of everybody wanted, a lot of people wanted the presidency to come to the south, no doubt. The PDP decided to stay with the north. But that was also a calculation that you might not be able to want to fault, because we have 14 APC governors and 5 PDP governors. So maybe the sentiment of having a northern candidate was one advantage they wanted to take from there. But you also have Tinubu, who wants to look at Southwest, coasting home on the Southwest. Depends on the perspective you're going to have to look at it.
Kenny Okolugbo, thank you very much for joining us and your perspective. Sambo, politics editor right here at Arise News.